right club. Be the right club today.
Johnny, that's better than most.
How about in?
That is better than most. Better than most!
Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast, the No Laying Up happy hour presented by our friends at FanDuel. My name is DJ, a rare DJ and Big Randy episode. I feel like I've made this joke before maybe, but it's kind of a sitcom situation. You know, we've tried a lot of storylines. Let's see how these two characters interact. Let's put those guys in a bus traveling across country. We'll see what that episode looks like. Randy, how are you, my man?
I'm great, Deej. I'm just, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, what kind of storyline would they have us going down? Bus across a country, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the combo right before they do you remember how the sitcoms used to do like they would look back on their own shows? It would just be like a montage of, I'm thinking like Saved by the Bells. Yeah, I guess that's what's next.
Where did these two characters come from? Let's dig into their high school story. Today's happy hour is, of course, presented by our friends at FanDuel, our go-to for betting on all the action as the FedEx Cup playoffs heat up big. We're in the home stretch. Guys grinding for position, chasing after a berth at Eastlake, trying to keep the season alive. FanDuel's got all the bets to ride the chaos. We're talking first, second, third round leader bets, finishing positions, head-to-head matchups, and a whole lot more. App is easy to use. Payouts are fast. So download FanDuel and make your next PGA Tour bet an ace. Must be 21 and over and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit RG-HELP. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Big Randy, we have got a lot to cover today. We got a very fun agenda put together. We're going to talk, of course, a little FedEx St. Jude as the FedEx Cup playoffs get going. We're going to take a little look back at some past playoff moments. We're going to look at who got in this year, who didn't get in this year, who's on the bubble, things of that nature. I'm sure we're going to talk a little NL Central at some point. I'm sure we'll get around to that. But let me kick it over to you first. First question. Let me say this. You can start in either direction. What's the biggest story this week, or what is the story that you're most excited for this week? Because I don't know if those are necessarily the same thing, but maybe for you they are.
That's a good question, just because I think I know what your biggest story is. So I'm actually going to leave that, and I'm going to say what has me most excited. Legitimately, if folks were tuning into our Open Championship coverage, you know I got a new favorite golfer, and that's Mr. Scottie Scheffler. And further, okay, I'm not sure if you've heard.
The data's in, the precincts have been reporting. I could get behind this guy.
I can get behind this guy. He's pretty good. Actually, he's amazing. And so if I drop, like, in all sincerity, we're watching greatness. And I just am looking back. You know, I spent a lot of time, and folks will know why as we get into the show, but I spent a lot of time looking at the last 3 seasons on the PGA Tour, and specifically this event, but the last 3 seasons. Did you know Scottie Scheffler has 58 PGA Tour starts over the last 3 seasons?
I did not know that.
Did you know he's made 54 cuts?
It's a lot.
No. Excuse me. That cut number is wrong. He's made every cut. Sorry. Where I'm going here, where my jaw just hit the floor, he's got 54 top 25 finishes in 58 starts over the last 3 years. Hasn't missed a cut. Of course, we've seen him win majors. We've seen him win tons and tons of tournaments. Like, truly, this is greatness. And so as we begin yet another PGA Tour playoff season, I just want to watch Scottie Scheffler. I want to make sure I'm watching enough of Scottie Scheffler, because I don't know how long it will last. I hope it lasts a long time, but I want to watch the best in the game doing it at a level that we've seen very few people get to. And I want to see him in his prime right now. And so truly, that is what has me most excited this week, DJ.
I love it, and I think it's good. I mean, I almost said I think it's a good golf course for him. Like, no shit, man. They're all good golf courses for him. But it's a good. I almost feel like a quarterback in a way where there's kind of this check down list of stories and kind of reasons to watch on Sunday. And I'm with you that I think yes, no, binary question, 1 or 0. Will Scottie win? Is kind of I think the top of that list as far as things I'm most excited to see whether they happen or not. And then I think you can get into the bubble stuff and you can get into kind of like some real check down sicko stuff that we're going to get to shortly. But I'm with you on the Scotty stuff. Every time he's in the field, I tend to lean forward on the couch.
Well, let me put it this way. You know, I'm out here in Denver and I've gotten the wife into basketball. You know, we watch some Nuggets games, but we were talking this summer and we're like, Nikola Jokic is going to go down as not only like the greatest Denver Nugget, but he's going to go down as one of the greatest NBA players. Like, we need to go to more games and we just need to watch them more. I love sports and I just need to make it a point to watch Scottie Scheffler ply his trade more often. And so that's kind of where I'm going at with all this is I don't know that I haven't done enough of it. And that changes now, Deej.
Damn it. I love it. I love hearing that. I will go in a slightly different direction. I'll go more towards the biggest story of the week. And I think that's probably Rory McIlroy skipping this golf tournament because I think it leads to a couple other observations and topics. And let me say first and foremost, and I said the same thing on Sunday, but I have truly no problem with him skipping this tournament. This is a product of circumstance and the format. And if he doesn't have to play in Memphis in August, where it's going to be, I'm sure, 165 degrees, and he's probably already worn out after a long season, it's going to be swampy. I have no problem. It's a true don't hate the player, hate the game situation, I think, here. But what it kind of laid bare for me was going back to Scottie. I was looking at tee times and who's playing with who. And of course, they're going to pair everybody based on FedEx Cup standing coming in. And I'm like, wow, how is Scottie's paired with Sepp Straka? Like that's weird. I was like, oh, wait, Sepp Straka's number 3 in the FedEx Cup. And you know, Randy, no bigger Sepp Straka fans than me, TC, Neil, you know, things of that nature. But it kind of lays bare, like, without Rory here, I think, you know, I feel like I've heard more chirping and chatter than in years past. And maybe it's because they changed the format again. It's definitely because they changed the format again of just like people kind of, I think a lot of tired people, a lot of Popeyes memes type of people just throwing their hands up in the air and just be like, what is this? What are we doing? You know? And I think that, you know, if I was to read off the top 10, again, it's, if you're going to call it a playoff, naturally it's going to get compared to other sports. And if I'm going to read off kind of the top 10 in the FedEx Cup, the big market teams, so to speak, you've got like Scottie, great. New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, we love that. Rory McIlroy, hell yeah. Well, he's first round bye, kind of sort of his own creation. Sepp Straka, number 3, great season. Russell Henley.
Can I just
Russell
interject?
Henley, please.
You could have given me 25 guesses on who was currently number 3 in the FedEx standings, and I don't think I would have gotten to Sepp Straka.
I think that's right. And again, it's, you know, it's just math. He's had a great season. You know, nobody did anything wrong. It's just he's playing great golf. Russell Henley, JT, Ben Griffin, Harris English, JJ Spawn, Tommy Fleetwood, Keegan Bradley. All of those are nice players having great seasons, but man, it does get tough when you take, you know, kind of a LA Dodgers out of the playoff picture for round 1. It's like, all right, man, I kind of see why people aren't getting super up for this.
That's fair. Yeah. And I guess that's why I would just double back on Scheffler, right? And I imagine he'll be either, you know, the lead on the maiden broadcast. I'm sure he'll be on ESPN Plus, if not. So I'm choosing just to focus in on one team this week.
Choosing joy.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
The Scheffler guy, he plays in the other league. I don't get to watch him very much, but playoff time, man. You know, put it on the network TV, and let me get a good look at this guy.
It's when you get the best together. Exactly right.
Well,
what do you think? I don't blame Rory at all for not playing. I've seen some headlines that obviously the tour can't be happy about one of their marquee players and number 2 in the FedEx race skipping the first playoff event. Do you think they're going to close this loophole? What do you think are the ramifications, I guess, going forward, if any?
I don't know. I feel like there's so many spinning plates up in the air that there's maybe never been a bigger gulf between, what like, quote unquote, they should do and what they will do. I feel like the landscape has gotten so complicated that I'm kind of like, man, I don't really know what's going to happen with all the moving pieces that are shaking around. And so I say all that to preface, and basically underscore that this is just a guess. But it does seem like there's enough momentum building around this is not an actual playoff. And if you want it to be a playoff, it needs to be a playoff. And if it is a playoff, then it needs to be consequential. And you need to have, maybe everybody starts even. Maybe let even fewer guys get in, but everybody starts even. And it is truly like if you don't finish in the top 30, you're not moving on, like on that week's leaderboard, not necessarily for the season long point. So I could see them doing that. But then I also, I think you can't go through the last, I thought Brendan Porath made a great point in the Fried Egg newsletter this week. Like, you can't go through the last 5 years of what's an independent contractor and who has to play where and what can we tell these guys to do versus not tell them to do. And then kind of, whip the turnstile around again and say, no, actually you have to play this event. Like, you can't, it's just, and that's where I kind of circle back to my original point of like how complicated all this is and how cumbersome and convoluted it's gotten.
Yeah. I don't have a better answer. I'm like you, obviously no idea where all this is headed and what it's going to look like a year from now, 2 years from now. But it does seem like something they're going to have to work to figure out, whether that's incentivizing guys to show up for every round of the playoffs or going the other way and like, hey, maybe the top 10, give them they're already getting so many bonuses, I can't keep track of them, but maybe the first playoff event is not everybody. And you give the top however many quote unquote buys, and we'll see at BMW. I don't know. Golf is so funny. It's obviously not like team sports. Buys can be a good thing or not a good thing, depending on how guys set their schedule and what they like to do. So yeah, it's a mess, but I agree with you. Rory not being here, certainly, if not the biggest story, 1B.
If we're going to kind of check down to the next read here and look at, the other reasons to be excited, I think it is this stuff on the bubble. There's some interesting names. And for those that are not keeping track with all the, this stuff just feels like you're reading a bunch of tax policy or something to figure out how the fuck any of this stuff works. But it's like, as of this year, similar to last year, if you're not in the top 50, if you don't make the BMW Championship, you don't get into the signature events for next year. Of course, there's other ways to get in. If you win a golf tournament, you can get in. If you're in the Aon Next 10 Swing 5, you can get in. There's sponsor exemptions. There's world ranking stuff. So I was talking to TC about it, and kind of to double click on my tax analogy. It's like, if you spend the time to sit there and look at it and trace all these things back and like, wait, how did that guy get into the field? It all makes perfect logical sense. There's always a straight line explanation. It just takes a lot of work to try to figure that out. And I'm just trying to say to you, dear listener, I understand if maybe you're not interested in doing that. And I understand the calls for, what if we just made this a little more black and white and a little more ruthless and a little less safety net-ish. So it's just these two very funny things that if I was at the PGA Tour, I would be pulling my hair out, because I'm sure, like, dude, you have no idea how long we've thought about this and how much sense this technically, theoretically, logically makes. Well, but it's like, when I try to
spreadsheet, you can see it all. We've squared every circle. Like, we're good. But
so with that as preamble, your bubble boys are interesting. 47, Jake Knapp. 48, Jordan Spieth. 49, Wyndham Clark. 50, Minwoo Lee. 51, JT Poston, pound for pound best player in the world, and 52, Kurt Kitayama, who's won a couple times over the last couple years. So it's like, and Bud Cauley, Joe Highsmith, Aaron Rye, who's having a good season. So the reason I bring this up big is because I kind of wanted to I always have this romantic idea of like, oh, I'm going to go back and look at what happened last year. I bet there was this crazy butterfly effect. Somebody birdied 18 to get in, and then that got them into this event, and then they played well, and then they got into this, and then they did this. And there were a couple of those last year. Nick Dunlap went from number 67 to number 48, which was great because I don't think he earned points for his Amex win. So getting him into BMW in the signature events provide a little cushion as he kind of lost his driver and struggled a little bit this year. Eric Cole, 54 to 46. Mav McNeely shot 64 in the final round last year, but that was only good enough to move to number 53, which I think is interesting because now he's like right on the edge of a Ryder Cup spot. But then we get back to the tax code, and then he won in the fall, which then got him into the signature events. So then he played good. And so it's all kind of, it's interesting. Mackenzie Hughes bumped out of the bubble, which obviously like made this year tougher for him. Tom Kim, same thing. He moved from 43 to 51. I forgot he was the first man out. And now again, when you're struggling with your game and you're also not into some of these like guaranteed check, no cut events, that can be kind of interesting. But here's the one I wanted to flag for you. And anybody who was paying very close attention last year maybe can see this one coming. But I had completely forgotten who finished number 50 last year coming out of the FedEx St. Jude. Do you remember who it was? They were number 39 going into the week, scuffled a little bit, finished T59, but it was good enough to finish 50th and get into BMW.
I don't. Would you like me to give some uneducated guesses, or should we just?
No, I'll just tell you. It was Keegan Bradley. It was Keegan Bradley, who was number 50, got into BMW, won the BMW, and now has just kind of set his season off in amazing ways. If you'll allow me to get a little more procedural for a second here, and listen, of course, I'm asking you guys to go out on a limb with me here and make some assumptions. There's no way to prove that this is how it was. Maybe he would have won in the fall, or maybe who knows, he would have got into these events another way. But coming into that, FedEx week, like if he would have finished 51, theoretically, he's not into the BMW, which he goes on to win, and he's not into the signature events this year. But because he got into those signature events, let me list off how much money he won at those signature events that he got into this year. And again, you'll remember that Ryder Cup points, like they count the majors and the players for 2024, and then they count every event for 2025. You get 1 point for every $1,000 you earn. So, i.e., if you're in big money events, you're going to earn a lot of Ryder Cup points. So Keegan gets into all these signature events. He wins 292 grand at the Century, 36 grand at Pebble, not great. Gets into Genesis, 109 grand there. Bay Hill, 800 grand. Might want to hang on to that one. Heritage, 226 grand. Truist, 125 grand. Memorial, $603,000.
Good work if you can get it.
Travelers, of course, he wins $3.6 million. So that all adds up to $5.8 million from events that he may not have gotten into without finishing 50th at last year's FedEx. So that translates into 5,800 Ryder Cup points. Without those, again, it's not totally apples to apples, but if you take those points away, he's down in like the 40s in the rankings with Patrick Rogers, Max, Bud Cauley, like some of those guys. And so it's a fun thought exercise. And again, do I expect everyone sitting on their couch to be like, hold on, let me pause the golf tournament here. Let me go like get my spreadsheet out to do some accounting on what I should be rooting for here or what I should be thinking about. No, but it's a fun story to dig up, and especially layering that on with this fucking quagmire that we have of Ryder Cup points. And is he going to pick himself? Is he not going to pick himself? It's good stuff. It's good. So I thought you'd like that.
So not only Solly hours of just consternation and frustration with UTC, me, like the guys who are clearly just in the back of the room. Oh yeah, pick himself. It'll be fun. The content will be great. But we might arrive at what could be a hilarious situation where he does pick himself. Somehow he plays poorly. He may end up costing himself the Ryder Cup as a player and thereby as a captain. And you're saying you can make a case that it traces back to this tournament and the top 50 kind of bubble cut line.
If you wanted, if I was working in PGA Tour sports information, selling storylines, I don't know. That would be one I would soft pedal to the media. But I want to talk a
I
little
dig it.
more on that front. Before we do, Randy, we got to hear a word from our friends at Rowback. You already know Rowback, our go-to for polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, pants, all of it. Best fit, best feel. Simple as that. Randy looking absolutely resplendent in his Rowback
It's
polo.
like a bird motif.
Yeah, I think it shows that you're ready to have some fun out there
Bird catcher.
on the golf course. He's ready to make some birdies. You can't see Randy's lower half, but I'm sure he's wearing the Delta Looper shorts, which are back
They're
in
nice.
stock. Light, stretchy, ridiculously comfortable waistband that somehow it just gets better every time you put them on. So if your summer fit needs a refresh, now is the time. Head to rowback.com. It's rowback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use code NLU, stands for no laying up. Code NLU at checkout for 20% off your first order through the end of the week. That's print polos, shorts, hoodies, everything. Rowback's got you covered. Randy, I want to ask you, Solly and I were talking a little Ryder Cup in the Sunday episode. And to me, that's kind of check down route number 3 here of like, okay, if Scottie's not interesting, if the bubble's not that interesting, I find this Ryder Cup conversation weirdly fascinating. Not everybody's in that same boat. Some people are just kind of a week at a time. I'm curious if how you're feeling. Is that something you're keeping an eye on? Do you suddenly care what Chris Gotterup does? What's your general mood around that?
Cody and I listened to the second half of that Sunday pod when we were driving back across Wales to Heathrow, flying home. I thought you guys had a great conversation, truly. And I will pay you the highest compliment that it made me now curious and looking forward to how things shake out. And like you said, that begins this week. I thought Solly made some. I thought you guys both made very good points, and I thought Solly's came through about, him in particular saying like, listen, if Tommy stuffs that wedge on the 72nd hole and wins, it seems like we're not really having the Keegan as a player conversation in earnest, right? And does like that singular event, should it carry this much weight? I'm trying to think, and you guys kind of boiled it down to, it sounds like 8 names for 6 spots if we lock in the top 6 right now. So
depending how you feel about Ben Griffin, maybe 9.
Right. I'm looking at the tee times and I see like a Mav McNeely is paired with Keegan Bradley. That's interesting, right? You have all of the hopefuls playing this week.
Including Keegan.
The guy that just wants a little chaos in me would love if Keegan was like, all right, boys, whoever's best this week, I'm going to give you 1 spot between, like the 8 of them. But in all seriousness,
we were joking about this during the Open, right? It's like they need to start doing like the high school college golf qualifiers. Just post something on the bulletin board in the locker room. Hey, today's an 18-hole qualifier. Mav, Gotterup, Brian Harmon, you're in the conversation. What do you guys got? Bring it on.
I'm seeing Gotterup playing with Cantlay. Hey boys, better of you. Ooh, maybe we'll give you 1 round, maybe we'll give you a few rounds, but better of yous on the team.
I like Cody's thing he just dropped in the chat there. Keegan should say whoever beats me this week gets a spot. I like that. Let's get into the cauldron.
Come and get it, boys. But I'm gonna try my ass off. You better believe that. So yeah, I think I net back in. It does have me curious, and definitely a game within the game. So as we were ranking kind of like storylines, I would put that 3, 4. If you're thinking Scottie's greatness, Rory, there's not much to say anymore on Rory. He's not playing. And then that top 50 bubble and some Ryder Cup ramifications. I truly think it does kind of make it an interesting week.
I do too. I know we're kind of jumping around on order here, but as far as that bubble goes too, we mentioned the guys that are right on the edge, a couple guys that are outside, close to our hearts here. And I would Paul Hodowanik from the PGA Tour went and did a good write up on kind of a little viewer's guide for this week. Two guys I wanted to flag. Ricky, 64th in the standings right now, needs at least a T17 finish, I believe. And Big Tone is 60th coming into this week, needs at least a T20. Big Tone's made the Tour Championship every year for 8 straight years, which is very impressive.
Crazy.
That's a streak that's on the line. So anybody that kind of caught your eye as far as like in danger of not moving on that is interesting, or somebody you think is going to move on, what and that kind of like, call it that 30 to 70 group.
Yeah, I think I think Spieth at 48 could speaking of Ryder Cup, strong couple weeks, he can really bolster his case. A bad week this week, and that might be the last we see of him for several weeks after the Ryder Cup. I feel like it'd be hard to pick him if he drops out and misses BMW and the Tour Championship. So a little bit in that same boat. You have Wyndham Clark sitting at 49. You could say the same thing about him. Good week, good performance at BMW, build some momentum there. I think then looking down into like guys who can jump up, like a Max Grazerman, going all the way back to Pebble. Really enjoyed meeting him. Could turn a good year into perhaps an even better. I won't necessarily say great year, but that's an interesting one to me. I mean, we joke, but JT Poston, the pound for pound best golfer in the world, he's got to be licking his chops trying to get into the top 50. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my eye goes. I haven't done the spreadsheet math to like really understand how vulnerable
You're just not a good golf fan.
you are at what position. But I would say, I guess the last one would be an Akshay sitting at 45th currently. Like how in danger he would be of potentially dropping. I think him getting into the BMW, keeping this season going on as long as possible is just good for him. He's entertaining to watch, and I think good for his future as well.
Well, as far as the field this week, I know you were kind of digging around over the last 3 years since this one became a playoff event down in Memphis. I know you came up with a couple different topics, ideas. Why don't I turn the ship over to you?
Yeah. So you're right. Beginning in that 2022-2023 season, you'll remember that was the last like wraparound, reach around PGA Tour season. That was the first year this event became top 70 playoff event. And so this will be the third iteration this year. I went back through the 3 fields now, and I found 37 players that have qualified for all 3 FedEx St. Jude's as it's been a playoff event. A lot of names won't surprise you. Of course, you got your Scottie, your Rory, your Xander, your Colin, et cetera, et cetera. But I think there are some names that surprised me. And let me just peel off a couple of these, DJ, and give me just a quick reaction. What if I told you Emiliano Grillo has made this event through all 3 years?
I would skeptically believe you, but it would take me a sec.
Sure. Patrick Rogers.
You know what?
I don't think I ever would have guessed that.
That one I knew only because Sully and I were talking about him the other day, of just a guy that like you just can't get him out, and it would struggle so hard to think of a chance where it was close to being a win. Kind of one of those guys that like you technically are like, man, we need to thin the herd on these tour players.
The analytics hate him, but there's just something about him.
Yeah, he just can't lose his card. You can't get him. You cannot get him out. It's crazy.
Kind of Luis Ariz-esque. Like, I don't know, man. There's whatever he's doing, there's a place for him in this game.
Hitting 395 with a 0.4 WAR.
Yeah. Our guy Steven Yeager.
Would have got that
been a little surprised. Has been there all 3 years. A couple Canadians, Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Taylor. Again, you tell me, hey, they've made it twice. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Made it all 3. That's interesting. So those are the guys that kind of led that group of have qualified all 3 years that just made me do a little bit of a double take. And so hand in hand with that, Deej, the next group that I want to just throw some names at you. There are 15 guys in the field this year, 15 guys that are qualifying for this FedEx St. Jude as a playoff event for the very first time. And that's where I think it gets a bit more interesting. Let me pull up this list really quick. And so you have some guys that have won this year that I don't think would be all that surprising. I'm thinking like Brian Campbell, right? Like a Chris Gotterup, Joe Highsmith, et cetera, et cetera. Kevin Yu. Kevin Yu's a guy playing for the first time. Our guy Foxy, right? Here for the first time.
Proper player.
Bud Cauley. You can't hold him down. I think a surprising name, and I know he's dealt with injuries, but Daniel Berger. This is his first time.
I didn't realize that. That's an interesting, not to make everything Ryder Cup, but it's like, I feel like he's one of those guys that everybody's just dying. Like American fans are kind of dying to play well. He just seems like such a good fit for a team like this. And he's won twice on this golf course, right? And has never played it as a playoff event. Did not realize that. That's a good one.
Yeah. So who else? You got your Harry Halls, Michael Kim, Andrew Novak, Matty Schmidt is the last guy in. This will be his first time. So Deej, I had two questions, I guess, in particular, as we look at these 15 guys. If you had to bet your life right now and say one guy out of that group of first timers, you guarantee will be back here in 2026, having made the playoffs again, who are you riding with?
Man, that's a good question. My gut goes to three names: Daniel Berger, Nico Echeverria, and Chris Gotterup. And I think
that's kind of where we're fishing in very similar ponds there.
I think Gotterup is a guy that just seems like he loves getting a taste of being one of the world's best players, and I think he might hang around in that spot for a while. So I'm gonna throw my weight, and it sounds like my life, behind Chris Gotterup. So let's revisit that next year, and if not, you can come mow me down if I'm wrong about that.
Fair. I think if you told me, hey, Daniel Berger is going to be healthy, he would probably be my number one pick. I imagine maybe he might be yours too. But with that uncertainty, I think I land at Gotterup as well. And I think you said it perfectly there, that he seems like a guy who loves where he is and where he's going and where he could go. So
I think that's right. That's a good question.
I think the flip side of that question is obviously if you had to pick one guy that you would bet your life on being back in 2026. That's an interesting question to me as well.
That is a good one. Man, I think I gotta go with my head here. I gotta go with the direction of pro golf becoming a distance and power oriented game. And I hate to do it to my Fighting Illini guy, but I'm gonna go Brian Campbell. I think maybe that was. I hate that. Maybe he's a proper player if he can win with the tool set that he has. But man, I just that would be my guess, and I hate that, but I think that's what I'm gonna have to say.
I don't think that's a bad guess.
Also, we're talking to our guy Joe Highsmith putting with his eyes closed. Who knows how that's gonna go?
I was gonna say, Deej, the good thing about this, it's a year from now, and like everybody's gonna forget about this. So
nobody set a calendar invite to come revisit these takes.
I guess I could see you could convince me Foxy's got a couple years of just really strong play in him. You could also convince me that Foxy might fall off a bit of a cliff. I don't know. I think it's better when he's around, but listen. Late 30s. I don't know.
Fair. It's very fair. I guess I'd have to look at it with his win. Does he now get into? I don't know if he gets. Sorry, this is bad radio here, but let me see where he's at. Oh, he's like 32, so he's going to get into BMW, which means he'll get into the signatures next year, which means he'll get a lot of no cut, a lot of guaranteed paychecks next year. So
okay.
If
Well,
I was an
then
actuary, I think I'd like that one more than some of the other guys.
Yeah. Okay, then I think I might land on Kevin
Brian
Yu.
Campbell's right there too. So maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth.
Yeah. What could I interest you in a Kevin Yu? 66th in the FedEx Cup this year.
That
Only
probably
2
makes
top
more
10s
sense. Yeah.
this year.
No, I think that's probably right. Matty Schmid, who knows what we're going to see from him? That could be, good second half, but who knows?
So
it's a good question. I'm gonna stick with Brian Campbell, even though I
Okay.
think he'd have to try pretty hard not to make it being into all the Siggies next year. But
yeah.
we'll see.
All right. Well, we're talking about deleting guys from the 2026 FedEx St. Jude.
Yeah, I think that brings us right into our word from delete me, Randy. Right now, the headlines are chock full of data breaches, regulatory rollbacks, making us all vulnerable. I'm sure you're feeling more vulnerable than ever. You can do something about it. Delete Me is here to make it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online. Delete Me knows your privacy is worth protecting. Sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. Delete Me isn't just a one-time service. Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information that you don't want on the internet. Randy, I just got my latest, my latest report, and it's pulling my information from all kinds of stuff. Fast people search, Florida residents, a lot of old Florida stuff. My life. I don't want my information on my life.
Can you
People
believe
search now. Peoplewizard.com. Get me off peoplewizard.com. I don't want to be on there.
All these sites. I know I got my report as well, and it's just like, I mean, who's running all these sites? What are we doing? Pisses me off. Makes me angry.
Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners today. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting NLU. Again, that stands for no laying up. NLU to 64000, 64,000 in your text. The only way to get 20% off is text NLU to 64000. NLU to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. Big, where do you want to go next? You got a little trivia for me?
I do. I think this is going to be fun. I think it might be really hard, or you're super smart and it might not be that hard, but kind of keeping in the theme of looking at the last 3 FedEx St. Jude as they've been playoff events. I decided let's play a little game of Who Am I? And specifically, I'll set the stage. There were 17 guys in that 2023 St. Jude tournament that have not qualified again for this event. Okay?
Name all 17.
17 guys. Interesting. You got a couple guys that you absolutely know of. John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton are among them.
Free spaces.
That's right. Who else would be amongst that group?
Brooks,
probably. Who is it?
Brooks, probably. Cam Smith.
Yes.
Or Cam Smith was gone already, maybe?
No, not Cam Smith and not Brooks. John and Rahm and Tyrrell were the only 2 live guys. You got guys like
going on for a lot longer than I tend to realize, I think.
Yeah, you got guys like Keith Mitchell, Bo Hostler, Andrew Putnam, Adam Shank. So I'm giving you some names here.
Okay.
But I've got 5 guys from that tournament. I'm going to kind of read some career highlights, some bio information. I would like you to try. I don't know how you're going to do this, but try to guess who these guys are.
Okay. I hate my chances here. This isn't one of those like putting my life on the line situations, is it? Okay.
No. I think we would just cut to the chase and let's get it over with. All right. The first guy.
As possible.
That's right. The first guy. I am currently number 524 in the Crooked OWGR.
Okay. Gonna need a little more info.
Data Golf has me number 363 at the moment. I'm 27 years old. I turned pro in 2021. I finished 23rd on the 2022 KF Korn Ferry Tour season-long standings, earning my card for that next PGA Tour season. In my rookie season on the PGA Tour, I played in 29 events, made 17 cuts, recorded 3 top 10s, and I won once, Deej. I won in a playoff over England's Nathan Kempsey. Not sure if you want to offer a guess
on the
now.
PGA Tour?
On the PGA Tour.
Oh man! All right, so this has got to be an opposite field winner.
I'll keep going.
27-year-old who won what I assume is an opposite field event. All right, keep going.
I've played 3 majors in my career, though I have not made a cut in any of them. In September of 2023, I won on the European Tour at the Irish Open.
Oh God! Now I feel like I should know it.
Getting back to that 2023 FedEx St. Jude, I finished tied for 49th that week. Did not advance in the playoffs. Let's fast forward a little bit. My 2024 season, not good. I played in 19 events, missed 10 cuts, and had 0 top 10s or top 25s. This year, I've played 7 events. I made 5 cuts, but I'm currently hurt. And I'm assuming I'm going to be playing on a major medical when I do come back.
This is a great one because I have absolutely no idea who you're talking about.
Okay, my last clue here is my nickname is the Candy Man because in high school I worked in a sweets shop.
Oh God. That is one that I've heard, but God, I cannot remember who that is. You have to give me.
If I give you his
This is so hard,
nationality,
Randy.
Do you know
so
who it is?
hard.
Yeah, who's it? What's the nationality?
Swedish.
Oh,
Honestly, I didn't know how to make these easy. There are some easier ones. This is not an easy one. I think we might just have to review.
Yeah,
it.
if it was multiple choice, I think I would get it, but I'm not gonna pull it. Who is it?
It's Mr. Vincent Norman.
Sure, 2 N's. Yes, of course. Yeah, God, that's a good one. He was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah,
What happened? I forgot he won
right.
the Irish Open. That's a good one to file away.
Life comes at you fast.
I love these. I might not do well, but I think they're going to make me a better fan and maybe a better person.
Well, it kind of makes you think, think about those 15 first timers this year. 2 years from now, we could be having this like, oh my God, remember when Kevin Yu played in this event? Anyway, all right, number 2. I'm currently number 435 in the OWGR, 173 in FedEx, and 449 in Data Golf. I know that doesn't mean anything to you. I'm 29 years old. I turned pro in 2018 and have not won on the PGA Tour. Here we might start tripping some wires in your brain. I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi, and I played my collegiate golf at the University of Missouri.
Oh, wait, University of Missouri is throwing me off. Okay, keep going.
I'll keep going. I won on the Korn Ferry Tour in February of 2021. I earned my PGA Tour card that year and have been playing PGA Tour events since earning that card. I've played in 4 majors. I've made 2 cuts, and I even had a tied for 14th at the 2022 US Open. In that 2022-2023 PGA season, I earned nearly $3 million. I made 16 of 28 cuts. I had 4 top 10s, and I did finish runner-up at the Sony Open.
God, these just go out of your head so fast. It's
I
crazy.
finished T52 at the 2023 FedEx St. Jude playoff event and did not advance to the BMW. We'll fast forward here. In 2024, I made 11 of 29 cuts. I had 2 top 10s, and I finished 139th on the FedEx Cup standings. In 2025, I've missed 6 of my last 7 cuts, and I've only made 5 of 18 on the year, but I do have 2 top 10s, both in Zurich and at Myrtle Beach.
God, I'm just not as locked into those as I used to be. Is this like
my real first name is Charles, and that's all the clues I got for you.
The Missouri thing is really throwing me off. I feel like colleges are usually a pretty good giveaway, and I'm sure. Is this one of the ones you'd consider hard or easy?
Yeah, no, okay. This is hard.
Like, is this like
Cody? I think we got to reveal it.
Matt Neesmith or something. I don't know. He was Clemson, I think. I don't know. Yeah,
Buckley.
Gosh. Yeah, I remember when he finished second at the Sony Open. Now that you say that, I had the wrist taped up. weird kind of golf swing that was actually like fun to watch.
Yep.
That's a great one. And I feel like I feel guilty. Hayden, I'm sorry. I should have known that. Had no idea you went to Missouri.
The next one might be a little easier. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be easier than these first two. All right. I'm currently 217 in the OWGR, 162 in the FedEx, and 229 in Data Golf's rankings. I'm 31 years old and first earned my PGA Tour card in 2019. Though I did lose my card after a bad rookie season, I went back to the Korn Ferry, won twice to regain my card. This is where I think you might start.
Really hoovering up some points.
Yeah, my lone PGA Tour win came in November 2022 at the RSM McGladrey when I shot a final round 64 to win by 2 shots.
I'll
keep going. Stop me if you want to guess. Across that 2022-2023 season where I would qualify for the St. Jude playoff event, I played in 30.
Tyler Duncan, is it?
No, not Tyler Duncan. I played in 35 events, made 28 cuts, earned just shy of $5 million, and carded 4 top 10 finishes. I finished the regular season ranked 37th on the FedEx Cup list.
Did Seamus Power win RSM?
It's a good guess. It's not Seamus Power. Okay. I placed tied for 37th at that St. Jude event. I made the BMW and finished tied for 15th, but I did not qualify for the Tour Championship. I've played in 5 majors. I've made 4 cuts, but I've never finished better than T40 in any of those majors. In 2023, defending my RSM title, I shot a final round 62 and finished tied for 5th. God. All right, we'll fast forward. In 2024, I played 32 events, made 23 cuts, 2 top 10s, but I finished just outside the top 70 at 76th in the FedEx Cup. We'll fast forward again. In 2025, I've played 23 events. I've only made 11 cuts, and now I sit at 162nd in the FedEx Cup standings.
What country are they from?
I live in Palm Beach, but I hail from north of the border in Canada. I have not played a President's Cup.
Adam Svensson.
That's exactly right.
All right. Oh, I was like, man,
we're on the board.
This is not who it is. I truly have no idea. But I was thinking that was I remember that win, and all right, I needed the Canada help, but I'm gonna take that. That's a scummy victory, but I'm gonna take it.
No, that's a good one. I'm impressed. You want to stay at that 2023 FedEx, or do you want me to throw a couple at you from last year's FedEx?
What are dealer's choice? Dealer's choice. Okay. You tell me.
Cody, I know I might throw you for a loop here, but we're gonna skip. There are some guys that their lone qualification for this FedEx St. Jude was last year's event. They did not qualify in 23, and they have not qualified this year. All right. So this is from 2024. I am currently number 96 in the OWGR. I'm 135th in the FedEx Cup.
Now we're talking.
But I'm 407 in Data Golf's rankings.
What the hell? Okay.
There's somebody who delta there.
Somebody who won and hasn't done anything else. I'm guessing.
During the 2023 FedEx St. Jude, I was actually still in college. I'm 21 years old. I've played in 8 majors, and I'm looking for my first cut made in a major.
Luke Clanton?
No. You're fishing in some pretty good ponds there, though. I've won the USAM.
Oh God.
You said his name earlier in the show.
This year, I've played 22 events. I made 11 cuts. I top 10'd at Sony, but again, I sit well down in the FedEx Cup standings at 135. All right, this last one.
His name earlier in the show.
Yeah, I've won twice on the PGA Tour. My first win was particularly noteworthy.
Oh, Nick Dunlap.
Yeah.
All right. Thank God. Okay.
Nicky D.
That's a good one. All right.
Wow, all right, Cody.
Tough. that delta.
So
between-
hard.
I
don't
love
want
it.
to play any game night at Randy's house. This is
No,
unbelievable.
you know what? I had this coming. I feel like I've been the quiz master for all these
For
games,
sure.
and it's tough when it's just you against the world here.
I think you might have some success, Cody. We're gonna stick it in last year's event on these. I think we have maybe time for 2 more here.
Perfect.
All right, we'll start here. Deej, I'm 28 years old. My OWGR is currently 121. I sit at 138th in the FedEx Cup, but my data golf ranking is 100.
How old did you say they were?
28.
Okay.
I turned pro in 2018 and was a rookie on the PGA Tour in the 2020-2021 season. Although I've not won a major, I have 7 top 10s in majors.
Cameron Young?
No. Good guess. I've won 1 time on the PGA Tour in my career, but
Cameron
my
Young.
career earnings are close to $20 million.
Whoa.
The year before my only FedEx St. Jude, I only played in 8 PGA Tour events, making 6 cuts. And this year, I've only played in 11 events, making 9 cuts.
Ludwig?
No.
He's won more than once.
Somebody that a couple years ago we were like, this guy's going to win a major. In 2024, I finished 38th in the regular season FedEx. I went T12, T13 at St. Jude in the BMW, but did not make the Tour Championship, which is crazy. I'm battling back.
Oh, Zalatoris. Zalatoris. That's a good one too.
Willie Z.
Man, I know. It's just crazy how quick you forget about it. Like some of these guys, there's just so many tournaments.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast some of these guys cycle out of your mind, and it's truly out of sight, out of mind for a lot of these guys. And again, it's like, well, Zalatoris at least is a good example of, man, could use him in that top 5 of the FedEx Cup going into this week. There's a couple guys that are like, yeah, just haven't been there, which is crazy because I feel like there's been so many good winners this year.
Know.
It just hasn't been. I don't know.
Golf would be in a better spot if this guy were healthy.
Totally agree.
That's the shame of it. All right, last one. We'll keep it from last year, Cody.
Thank God.
I think you'll know this one, Cody, as I go. All right. I'm currently 38 years old and turned pro in 2009. I am 235th in the OWGR. I sit 179th at the moment in the FedEx standings, and I'm 377th in Data Golf's rankings. I've made over $10 million in my PGA Tour career, though I've never made a cut in a major. In 2022, 2023, so the season before I qualified for the St. Jude, I played 35 events. I only made 14 cuts, which earned me about $1.4 million.
Scott Stallings.
This year, no, that's a pretty good guess. This year, I've played in 22 events, made 9 cuts, and do not have a top 10. Over the last couple of years, I've probably played
Peter Malnati.
Yes, a handful of events.
I don't know why that
shouldn't have.
It hit me like a lightning bolt. Fuck yeah, that's great. That's Cody's guy.
Yeah,
easy. That's what he was coming in to say.
My last clue was my nickname's Peppy, which I knew you would have gotten it had I gotten there.
Gosh, Randy, that was cruel and unusual punishment, but I would sign up for it again. That's good. I got to do more of that. Got to sharpen the sword. I feel like
it's just crazy how quickly these guys that are in our consciousness they fade. So
I know. That's why on one hand it's just like, well, why aren't people getting up for the playoffs? And then it's like you stack up some of those, and it's just it's hard to. Not everyone's got indelible playoff moments. I don't think.
Maybe the playoffs should be 20 guys, right? And you just have those guys play 3 events and see who's the best across 3 events.
It's kind of hard to argue with that. All right, let's land the plane here, Big. Let's get to a couple of picks for this week. Thank you for putting all that together. Let's do our one and done picks. First of all, Cody, I will kind of follow the order at the screen there, starting with myself. I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick plus 2,200. Seems like this golf course is a great fit for him. He's been playing good golf. I like Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't have a whole hell of a lot to add there. Next in the one and done list, Randy.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, we're getting to the end of the season. The one and dones. I have not hit a one and done. I know that probably shock a lot of people listening. This guy is a former
right now.
Yeah, this guy's a former winner here, though.
Yeah.
A lot like you. Like that's kind of as good of a thing that I'm basing this on. I have a Hideki Matsuyama.
I love it. Next up is going to be TC, who's going with Russ Henley, which is a pick I love. I don't know who's auditing our one and done. I think I've picked Henley twice. He did not win either of those events, but yeah, TC is, I think, saving him for a good one here. Russ Henley, I think, is a delightful pick. Next up, Solly is going with HE. That's another pick that feels better than mine as I see it listed here. Ryder, kind of right on that Ryder Cup bubble. I think he's number 6 right now as far as being somebody who's going to, I think he's on the team either way, but I'm sure would like to take some stress out of that and just get himself an automatic qualifying position. And then Neil is going with Hovland. I've got Hovland in some other plays.
Hovland in the chamber on a one and done.
That's a good point. Let me see if has he not picked Hovland?
Speaking of guys in the chamber, I will say this. Last week's performance, Cam Young getting the win finally and monkey off his back. Nobody has selected Cam Young at all this year across the entire board to include this week.
I've thought about
it.
BMW.
He's gonna crush
know
BMW. I don't think he's
feel like
here.
It's a bit of a letdown too. Same thing we talked about with Lottie Woad. It takes a lot out of you when you win. But I do like him at BMW.
Cody, will you go on the record and say you're picking Cam Young as your one and done?
I mean, I pick him every week.
Actually, you know what? I don't think we heard from you. You're like the biggest Cam Young fan on the squad. What was your takeaways from last week? Anything?
I honestly didn't watch a single golf shot of it, Deej. Randy and I were very occupied in what we had going on. Of course, when we recorded our portion before the final round, I don't even know if you guys had started yet over in Greensboro or wherever it was at. But yeah, I'm thrilled. It's crazy. I don't think this is one of those things where it's like the monkey's off his back by any means, but why can't you be happy for a guy who's really damn good and has won at every level and now luckily can say he's a PGA Tour winner? I don't know what this is going to equate to, but hopefully more wins, right? I think you'd be crazy not to talk about him on the Ryder Cup, like one of those picks potentially, but who knows? We'll see.
It's compelling with the driving and the putting.
Yeah,
being from up that way.
As far as some of the other picks, we got a 4-man top 20 parlay here. This is there's a lot of moving parts here, but short field, not inconceivable. Randy, who are you going with to add to this parlay?
My guy is, who did I pick? Oh, Lucas Glover.
Former champion here, of course.
I had a dream back in April, but it's time for Lucas to pay this off this week.
TC is throwing in Daniel Berger for a top 20, maybe harkening back to some of what I was saying earlier. TC also sent me a note out of he's on vacation. He's just no context this week. Just said, I think Tommy's going to win this week.
What a reckless thing to send.
Yeah, which is like, again, that's kind of a good for you. I hope he does, but I think it might be at the point where it's kind of unbecoming. That's truly the big Tone playbook. I mean, Tone had already won the Puerto Rico Open, but when he won the Northern Trust, and then Solly just clung to it for a decade. Solly is going with Ben Griffin in this parlay for a top 20, and I am maybe the parlay buster here, but I'm going to go with Harry Hall. Harry Hall is playing freaking great golf. Finishes in the top 25 every week. Just fills it up, putts it great. Guy that it's kind of a sicko play here, but I'm going with Harry Hall.
If people want to ride with us on that, what is it? Plus 2,800 are the current odds. You
Plus
can find that.
2,800 for that one. If
Yeah,
you want to sweat out those top 20s. Yeah, that's over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Randy, what other plays you got dialed up this week? Any other fun stuff?
Yeah, well, I have two that FanDuel has taken and made a reality. So again, you can find these under the NLU specials there. The first one, kind of our tap in, right? It's supposed to be, you feel pretty good about this hitting. So this is Scottie Scheffler to top 10 and Sam Burns to top 20. That's including ties. The odds there are plus 160. And then my other kind of just fun one is Xander Schauffele to top 10 and Tony Finau to top 20. That's including ties, and that's plus 850 are the current odds there. So
I love
some
it.
guys, yeah.
Big Tone coming for that Tour Championship streak.
That's right.
I had one, we talked a lot of Ryder Cup, and this is kind of wish casting here. I hope this happens. I feel like the Ryder Cup picture is absolutely murky, and I'm just wanted to get even more murky. So I have Mav McNeely and Chris Goddard up to both answer the bell and finish in the top 10. That's plus 1,500, including ties there. So I just would really enjoy that happening. And then just another one. This is kind of a if you're looking to sprinkle, I think Victor Hovland to win plus 3,100. I don't know, you're not going to get those types of odds for Victor in this short of a field. I feel like very often. So he's down the sheet a little bit, and it seemingly has found at least a little bit of something over the last couple months. So at a golf course where he's played really well, I think he finished second last year. Is that right? T2 last year to Hideki. So golf course that he seemingly likes, and maybe it clicks and Victor picks off a victory.
I just to highlight, Cody, if you scroll over to the top 20 odds, so to finish top 20, I got to convince my wife still, see if she'll let me do this, but I was thinking about taking out a mortgage and putting it on Scheffler at minus 1150 to finish in the top 20. So I could bet $1,150 to win 100. Just need Scottie to top 20 this week.
Yeah.
No pressure, big dog.
I mean, you can do that every week, and then think about the compounding interest. Let your money start working for you, pig. I think I like it. Of course, that would be the week where he, tries to make ravioli again, puts another wine glass through his
Sorry,
hand.
babe. I thought it was a lot.
That was a sure thing. TC was telling me it was an absolute lock. Randy, I think that's about all I got for this week. It's a fun episode. I didn't realize how deep we were going to spelunk in the history of the FedEx St. Jude Championship, but I think we're better off for it. A couple other golf tournaments going on this week. DP World Tour's got some Scottish golf going on in Aberdeen. We were taking a spin through that field. Some fun names playing over there in Aberdeen. Unfortunately, our guy Martin Coover is not playing this week. No. And then Corn Ferry Tours in Omaha, somewhere in Middle America, where hopefully our guy Johnny Kiefer is just going to keep messing people up. But yeah, some good golf outside of Memphis. And then also announced this week, Solly playing in the Creator Classic down at the Tour Championship. Many people were asking if I would be caddying. I've quit. I quit the bag from Solly. It's a total Steve Williams situation. I'm going to enjoy my private time and maybe start racing some cars. No, I cannot make it. Got some family stuff planned that week. So, but he's got a replacement on the bag, and I fingers crossed that it works out, because it's going to be really, really fun. And I think we got a good plan to capture some content.
Yeah, hopefully some content. I think it'll be one of those names where you're like, wait, what? Huh? But it should be really good.
Yeah, not a guy that probably doesn't do a lot of caddying, if I had to guess. But we'll leave it at that. Randy, great being with you. Great to chat. Great to chop it up a little bit. And looking forward to this week, and then everybody hopping on Sunday night to break it all down. Amen. DJ, I've got myself thoroughly excited to watch some St. Jude this weekend. I love it. Well, enjoy. Go Scottie. Thank you to our friends at FanDuel. Thank you to our friends at Rowback and our friends at Delete Me. Thanks to Cody and Jordan behind the scenes. Thanks to you, big guy. And we will see everybody next time. Cheers.
FanDuel, the official sports book of No Laying Up, must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. Gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.